Hey everyone, it is NickEh30 here, and these are my Fortnite settings in 2025. We go to our settings, full screen, 1920 by 1080. I play in 1080p because it allows you to get the best frames. VSync off so there's less input lag. If you turn this on, you're gonna feel a lot more latency, so you're not gonna be able to track enemies as well. Frame rate limit, whenever I'm doing build mode, I do 240 FPS, so you always wanna find what your GPU can get consistently so it's not fluctuating. There's two things that you need to know about your frames per second. Number one, the higher the frames per second, the lower the input lag, meaning you can react instantaneously. The lower your FPS, the higher your input lag, meaning you're gonna react a lot slower. So if you're on 60 FPS, you might not realize it, but you have a lot of input lag. The second important thing is when you cap your frames, when you set it to 60 FPS in Fortnite or 240 FPS, and you don't have it set to unlimited, you naturally add input lag. It's unavoidable. So with that being said, there's two scenarios for me where I will cap my frames and I will uncap my frames, aka set it to unlimited. The first is zero build. When I do zero build, I always set my frame rate to unlimited. That is the absolute lowest amount of input lag, meaning I can react super quickly and track enemies, and it almost looks like I'm just aimbotting them out of the sky. My aim is super responsive. But with unlimited frame rate, it's fluctuating from high to low, and it's not set at a specific number, meaning the responsiveness of when you're tracking enemies will change. When you're going for like flick shots or really quick motions, sometimes that can suffer, is what I've noticed. But I'll still always do unlimited frame rate for zero build. Now, with build mode, I always set 240 FPS. And that's because if I was on unlimited frame rate, that fluctuating input lag makes it so that I'm not able to turn and edit and have the perfect crosshair placement. My builds are a little sloppy. I'll miss edits. When it's set to 240 FPS, the input lag isn't changing. My builds look really crisp. My 90s look super smooth. Everything is sharp, and it's just very satisfying to watch. And so that's always why I cap my frames at 240 for build mode. Scrolling down, I keep my brightness on 100. User interface doesn't really matter, 1.05. No color blind. Turn off motion blur. That just means like when you move, it'll get a little blurry. So if you want to play at the top level, you don't want any blur. You want to be able to see everything at every moment in time. Motion blur just looks cinematic. Okay, so what I do when I'm not doing 100 player customs and I'm trying to play at the best of my ability, I press all low. Turn off anti-aliasing. It just lowers your frames. Put your 3D resolution at 100% so you can see at far distances. All this stuff has to be off. View distance, you want it on far. And I'm going to give you a perfect example why. We're going to load into, if I type in NickEh30, and then I'm going to go to my 1v1 map here. And I'm just gonna do a private game. I'll show you guys. Okay, so here we go. So on all low settings, guys, when I build, look what happens with the build. So you actually cannot see through it. It's kind of like performance mode level builds, right? Which is not good because I like being able to see where the enemy is before I make an edit. So now look, if I go to far view distance, so you can see through the builds. As you see right there. So one more time, this is on all low. As you see, there's nothing transparent about it. You can see through it. So that's really good. So back to graphic settings right now. Everything's on all low except for view distance on medium. Don't gotta turn this on, don't gotta turn this on. Nvidia reflex low latency, that's only if your GPU is your bottleneck. So I don't turn it on just in case it affects something. I keep this off. I just realized my face cam was covering, so I moved it over. Now we're on to the volume tab. Everything's on 100% except music. I just like the lobby music down low. Sound is high quality, 3D headphones off. You can turn visualized audio on. I'm like the only one that doesn't turn it on. The reason why I don't turn on visualized audio, it's because I like my gameplay to look nice and clean and minimalistic. I don't want it cluttered, especially when I'm doing content. I just don't want to get used to it because I feel like if I turn it on, I won't ever turn it off. Licensed audio on mute, that's because I'm a content creator. None of this really matters, but there it is. Matchmaking region, I'm on NA East. This doesn't affect me, so I have auto run lock zone off. Double tap to auto run off, doesn't affect me. Toggle sprint is on for me. Auto open doors is on. Mantle activation, hold jump. You just have a lot more control when you press hold jump instead of hold forward. Hold to swap pickup is on because if I don't have a full inventory and I have a weapon equipped and I hold the interact button, it'll drop it even if I don't have a full inventory slot. Whereas normally it would just go into the next available slot. This one drops your current weapon, which I like. Auto pickup weapons off. If I'm running off spawn or something and I run over a weapon that I don't want it to mess up my inventory slots. Preferred item slots, I have only two things. My AR in my first slot and my shotgun in my third slot. So that way when I pick them up, it goes right to those slots. And also if there's a better rarity, it'll auto replace. So I have auto sort consumables to the right off because I've noticed Epic has consumables, sometimes movement items, sometimes healing. Not all the items are categorized properly. So sometimes you'll have things that you don't expect to be at the very, very right of your inventory. Sometimes they should be there. Sometimes they shouldn't be there. And it throws me off sometimes when I'm in the middle of a hot drop. So I like to just have everything go in the slot that I pick it up in order from left to right. Reset building choice off because I'm on PC. Doesn't matter. Turbo building obviously on. Simple edit off. Disable pre-edit option. Let me load in and show you guys what pre-edits are. Basically, it allows us before we build to just make an edit like this. And then we're just running around with that kind of pre-edit. So sometimes, you know, you're in the middle of a battle and you'll do like one of these ones and you realize, oh my God, I just pre-edited my walls like that. So you don't want that. So I always keep disable pre-edit on. Auto confirm edits I have off because I do triple edit keybinds. Contextual tips doesn't matter. I turn all this off so I get better performance. Nvidia highlights, peripheral lighting off. tap to search interact is on, so you don't have to hold it when you're interacting with chests. You just tap it. Minimum field of view and maximum, I never understood. It's when you're sliding and when your field of view changes and whatnot. I never mess with it, so I just kept the default. Record replays on, that's for content. If you don't do content, you want to turn off your replays because it does affect your FPS, believe it or not. And then all that's not important. Now we're on to game UI. The reticle, you guys know, is what you aim with. It's what you're seeing right here, the little white thing. Your reticle ammo indicator is when you shoot, you see a little ammo right to the bottom right of it. So it monitors that, so always want to keep that on. Show spread and show recoil, you want to turn that off. Basically, it allows your reticle to stay directly in the center for first-person game modes only. So for ballistic mode, that's only if you play that. Now, here's another really important thing. Damage numbers. Cumulative will go 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 every time you shoot an enemy. So you have a specific call that you can give to your teammates right away in the middle of battle, and you don't have to do the math yourself. Whereas list will do 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. For every shot you hit. Reticle damage feedback. This I have off, guys. This is because when you're shooting, it'll pop up the little exclamation point, the shield icon, and it blocks your screen, especially when enemies are further away and they're smaller. So you want to turn that off. Same reason why I did damage number scale to 95%. I turned that down because you don't want the numbers too big. So your HUD scale will affect your damage number scale. 80 and 95% was perfect for me. And the reason why I did 80 for HUD scale is because I do content and I didn't want everything to be too big, but this is still big enough for me to be able to see everything. All this stuff on. Latency debug stats we don't need to have. Net debug stats we don't need to have. All that is off. Touch and motion I don't use because I'm on keyboard and mouse. Mouse and keyboard, I'm on 2000 DPI with 10% X, 5% Y. That's just how I got used to it. Again, these are all just what I decided to do, just playing and testing. You probably want to do something different. Also, zoom scaling is set to legacy. I do have custom diagonals. Strafe angle is very important because that's basically the angle that you run when you press your one movement key to your right or to your left. So that's the angle which you're running, and I found that 71 was perfect for me because I'm pressing one key right now. It allows me to do my builds and all that. Backward diagonal angle, which is when you're pressing your D and your S key or your A and your S key. So that's just the angle. This is what I found to be the best for me. Mouse sensitivity multiplier, 100%. So that's just all default. And then I think I did change this to off. I think normally it's on. I could be wrong. Now, keybinds. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to scroll down, pause at any moment when you want to see what you want to see. Okay, now I want to talk about just important things. So I have really weird keybinds. This is because Fortnite was the first game that I swapped over to PC. I did play like mini PC games like RuneScape and Habbo Hotel, Coke Music, and that sort of stuff when I was a kid, but I don't think it counts. There's a few things that's on my scroll wheel. So if I do scroll wheel down, it pulls out my pickaxe like this. If I do scroll wheel up, it resets the edit. It's my triple edit keybind. So I have reset set the scroll wheel up, and I have pickaxe to scroll wheel down. And that's because you do them synonymously. Typically, you will pull out your pickaxe when you're resetting, so it just makes the most sense that my hand is hovering over my scroll wheel for that. Additionally, when you're looting up a chest, typically you pull out your pickaxe to loot, so I scroll wheel down, and then I press my middle mouse button to interact. But I do think scroll wheel down is a good interact, and it's probably better to be able to pick up things way quicker, because you can scroll a lot faster than you can mash your middle mouse button. Force walk toggle, that's basically so like, if I'm trying to act like an NPC, I press one button, it's my tilde key. And I can press it again to start running. So if I'm acting like a henchman or if I'm doing customs, role play, that sort of thing. Okay, weapon slots, guys. This is an interesting one. So the main thing out of all my weapon slots that I want to make note of here is left control. So how do I press my left control? I just rest my pinky on my left control. Naturally, I'm actually pressing down my left shift. I don't have anything set for my left shift button. So that way, when I want to pull out my shotgun, all I got to do is just slightly rest my hand down on my keyboard. And it's super natural. The reason why I have my wall keybind on it's my side mouse button is because when you get shot, what's the first thing you do? Turn and build. So what's the fastest way that I could press this? Especially while moving, my hand's already hovering over and I just press it instantly and boom. With the rest of these keybinds, when I'm pressing my wall, my floor, my stairs, and my roof, I want to be able to press each one as fast as I can because you want to be able to do crazy stuff like triple edits and not be slowed down, right? You want to be able to build as fast as you can. My right hand controls my wall. And then on my left hand, I have my index finger pressing the ramp. I have my ring finger pressing the flat, my pinky finger pressing the cone. That allows me to press each one as quickly as possible versus having everything on one finger. You might be wondering, I said I have triple edits. I do 3 buttons for my edits, but there's only 2 listed here. So what I do on my software, I rebind my E key so that it's my thumb mouse button, this button right here. This other mouse button. So that way when I press my E key, it presses my mouse button. And then when you want to do a scroll wheel reset, you want your building edit to scroll wheel up and you want your reset building edit to scroll wheel up. That means if I scroll, it'll reset automatically. Grabbing the edit and resetting it. That's what scrolling up twice does. One of the reasons why I did change my keybinds before, guys, was originally my edit button was F and I was pressing F a lot, right? To do all these different edits. and I would get a lot of finger fatigue when I was like only an hour or 2 hours into the stream. So basically I changed it a long time ago. So I grab the edit with E and then I confirm it with my thumb mouse button, and it allows me to save my fingers and also edit way quicker. There's edit on release now, so you probably don't need to do that, but that's just how I learned it. And additionally, I have scroll wheel, so I'll scroll wheel up to reset it. So it allows you to do it really quickly, and you can do like crazy stuff like that. And I think for keybinds, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. So going from the keybinds to controller now. We don't use a controller, but there are some settings that affect your keyboard and mouse here. So the slide hold time, guys. When you're holding your crouch button, this is going to determine how long it will take before you activate your slide. I set it to 0.075 because I've noticed that's the perfect time so that I don't accidentally press crouch and start sliding. Because when you set it really, really low, you'll just press crouch and you'll all of a sudden start sliding. So you want it a little higher than that, but not too high that you don't slide right when you want to do it. Like that is delayed, right? And then everything else, as far as I'm aware, does not matter. Nope. If you're not, unless you're using controller, but I use keyboard and mouse. And I guess foot controller and all that, but there's that. Controller mapping, this does, none of this matters over on this side. And then just settings overall. Friend invite permission, obviously I have to set to off so I don't get spammed. Party general ability, invite only. I don't care about the toxic emotes. Public game stats on. So hide your display name during regular gameplay so no one can know that I'm in the game and turn on my stream. But then I keep other people's names unhidden. Now I'm going to show you guys my Nvidia control panel. So right click on the main page, show more options, Nvidia control panel. Because there are some things that I change here that does affect your gameplay. Manage 3D settings. Okay, so global settings. Everything I keep default except, I'll tell you except what? Low latency mode right here. I set that to ultra. You can react as quickly as possible. The other thing you want to change is your power management mode, prefer maximum performance. So your GPU is working as high as it can, so you get more frames. Preferred refresh rate, I also set to highest available. And then for resolution, I am doing a 480 hertz monitor, but I'm still playing on 240 FPS capped for build mode and then unlimited for zero build. But you never end up getting 480 frames, so you can never see it. The bottleneck is Fortnite optimization. Definitely disable G-Sync. You do not want G-Sync. It will add input lag, so you will not be able to aim as efficiently as you want. You will not be able to react as quickly. Everything will be delayed. And that's everything. Okay, now my warm-up routine, guys, I'll load up the NickEh30 1v1s. Map code / link is in the description. So there's a few techniques that I like to practice that are very good in a game, and I want to show you. First one is ramp, and you do one of these. And then what I do is I follow it up with, I'll do this one, right? So wall, ramp, right? And you could even do it again. You can keep on doing it in circles and circles to practice. That's a really good protected high ground retake. So that's one thing that I always try to do in an actual build fight because it works a lot. Next thing is you ramp, and then you basically do this one. So you do wall, ramp, cone, and then you could follow it up with many things here. But what I do is I like to do a cone, follow like that, put a protected wall, and you can do a nice little side jump like this, turn, put a wall there, and continue on. And you can even like rinse and repeat like that. Another technique that I practice is whenever you're ramping and you know they're about to be behind you and shoot you, you do wall, cone, wall, ramp, and then you're like protected. It's a really good start. I even do like something like that, see? Especially in situations like this, you almost do like a full 360. Boom. Also, I like doing side jump a lot of the time and comboing it with that, see? So a lot of these combo together very well. See? And you can combo. Those are some of the main things that I like practicing. And then what I do is I just start free building and just trying to warm up as best as I can and comboing everything together like that. Boom. That side jump is super underrated, by the way. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and code NickEh30. No spaces, please and thank you. And don't forget to pre-order our brand new book, guys, The Stream Team Battle Squad. Teddy right there, inspired by me, inspired by Max830, and I'm actually featured in the book as well. Available March 18th. You can pre-order in the description. Keep on being awesome, A-Team, and I will see you all in the next one. Hey!